Well, it finally happened. Microsoft now owns Activision Blizzard, which is probably the worst news I've heard in a long time. For a lot of people, they're just going to be happy that this is now out of the news cycle. I haven't really been making videos about every single step of this process because it's been going on forever. Well, today I'm here to talk about the three whats when it comes to this deal, which would be what we know, what they've done, and what could happen. So let's jump right into what we know. So they dropped this trailer with the announcement where it shows all the different games and all the different franchises and characters that Microsoft now owns through various acquisitions over the years. And a lot of people really like it. A lot of people are very excited. Some people are, oh, this got me in the feels. To me, as a person that knows what business really is and doesn't have the rose-tinted glasses on, it's not a good thing that they own this much. It's never a good thing when a company just buys more companies. It doesn't work out for us in the long run most of the time. Now, what we do know is that all of these games are going to be on Game Pass, and that is huge for people who have Game Pass. And even if you just have Game Pass for the PC, you are going to have all of the Blizzard games, all the Activision games. Everything that they had is now on Game Pass, which is going to save a lot of people money if you have Game Pass already and you're thinking about picking these games up, and there's a lot of different games on the Game Pass that you already enjoy. So that's great. They're enhancing the value of Game Pass. However, what we also know is that Microsoft is going to lock down most of these games as PC and console exclusives and not be on the PlayStation 5. Now, whether or not they'll work with Nintendo, it's kind of iffy. It seems that Microsoft doesn't mind working with Nintendo. I believe Cuphead was going to be a Microsoft exclusive, and then now it's also on the Switch. I believe there's a couple games like that, so we might see more games still coming to Nintendo systems in the future. Seems like Microsoft really does want to have that relationship with Nintendo because they're not really competitors. I mean, they haven't been for a very long time since they're off doing their own thing. Call of Duty will not be an exclusive. That has been confirmed. PlayStation is just going to have to come up with their own first-person shooter at some point to compete with the juggernaut that is Call of Duty, unless in 10 years we're finally sick of Call of Duty. In one way, this could be a good thing because you'd be driving more competition when it comes to Sony. Have them come up with more unique IPs, get Naughty Dog to actually do something instead of just remaking The Last of Us 1,000 times. Go out there, make some new stuff, and that's what I want to see with this whole thing. With what we know is they're going to have a lot more games under their belt, a lot more things are going to be exclusive, which means Sony is going to have to turn up the creativity dial and actually start doing something. What Microsoft has done in the past. Now, in the past, Microsoft hasn't really handled a lot of these different acquisitions in the best way. I feel like one of the most notorious ones one of the most infamous ones is Rare. And what are the Rare IPs that we know and love from the past that are still alive? None. Perfect Dark is dead, and Banjo-Kazooie. Ugh, it still is painful to me that Banjo-Kazooie is dead. And I don't understand why, because I feel like Banjo-Kazooie would still be a very popular title if they put that out these days, but they just haven't. Look at what they've done with Halo. It's debatable whether or not Halo is now getting better with Infinite, now that there's people that actually care about what they're doing. We're seeing a lot of improvements. I'm going to make a video very soon about the improvements coming with the new season, all the new content they've added. So Halo's on the mend, but we've seen how they've treated Halo in the past, even though that was like their crown jewel. Gears of War. Does anybody care about Gears of War anymore? I don't think so. Again, that was another huge crown jewel. They had a couple of them and they just ruined it. They added way too much monetization. They did weird things with the story. They did weird things with the multiplayer. They even did weird things with the gore that I feel like I'm crazy because I'm the only person that's noticed it. It went from like an amazing series to meh. And that seems to be something that Microsoft does a lot with the things they buy. Speaking of meh, Bethesda as a whole hasn't really improved at all since Microsoft bought them. Now, you could argue it's a little bit early in the game to tell whether or not Microsoft is actually going to have a big influence on Bethesda. It seems like they bought a middling studio that had amazing games in the past and then just kind of stopped making those amazing games, and we haven't seen anything incredible come out from Bethesda. I know Starfield is kind of all over the place with what people think about it. I'm still kind of, it's okay. I'm still playing it, but it's not great. And we haven't really seen anything wow us from any of these companies that Microsoft has bought, or IPs that Microsoft has bought. So I'm hoping we see something good come out of this Activision Blizzard deal, but that is going to be in the next section, which is what could happen. They could do so much with this. They could make Game Pass just be the best service, hands down, like not even close. They could revitalize World of Warcraft like that. All they have to do is make the World of Warcraft subscription included in Game Pass. If you include that subscription into Game Pass, the number of people playing that game is just going to skyrocket. It just is. And with all of the monetization in that game, it's not like they'd be losing that much money to begin with. And also, they'd be bringing people into that Game Pass ecosystem where they're going to start playing other Microsoft games. Other games have microtransactions in Microsoft games. Pretty much all of them do, which is one of my main complaints about their games. But it's another reason why having their games on Game Pass doesn't really hurt the games too much, because yeah, they own it. Yeah, they're not really giving it away for free, but they're including it in Game Pass and they're not getting that sale price, but it has so much monetization in it that people will be more likely to try the game, and then if they like it, maybe they'll buy things in the game because they feel like they've gotten it for free, and they're willing to support it by buying some of the microtransactions. So I could easily see that with World of Warcraft. That would blow up the subscription numbers. They'd have a lot more players in the game, and with MMOs, that's what you want. That would be genius. I hope we see that. Another thing they could do is make all the Overwatch characters included with Game Pass, kind of like what they're doing with League of Legends right now. I don't know if you knew this, but if you have Game Pass, you can have all of the characters of League of Legends in your game for as long as you have Game Pass. They could do that with all of the different Blizzard titles that are going to be free to play in the future and right now, including Overwatch, and that would just be a no-brainer. Another thing, going back to World of Warcraft, that would make subscription numbers explode, not only including the subscription in Game Pass, but having World of Warcraft come to the Xbox consoles. The game shouldn't be that hard to run on modern consoles, even the Series S. I know that game was kind of built with all PCs in mind. I know over the years they've upgraded the graphics, it's gotten a bit more technical, but they could always optimize the game to run well on a Series X and Series S system, and that would eliminate people needing to own a PC to play World of Warcraft, while also adding a bunch of new players, having more people involved in the game, having more people that can buy monetization, having more people that can buy the expansions, and having just more people in the game, again, for an MMO that is incredibly important, and that would just breathe new life into that game. Another thing we could see, and this would be very interesting, it's already happening with games that aren't even owned by Microsoft. You can buy the Master Chief skin for Rainbow Six Siege. It's very strange to me that you can buy the Master Chief skin in Rainbow Six Siege, but it makes me think maybe you can buy the Master Chief skin in Call of Duty in the future. Maybe there will be different Blizzard skins in Halo Infinite in the future. I don't know what they could do, but all the different multiverse, cross-promotional, cross-universe type monetization stuff, we could see that in all the different games that they own, because it just makes sense. Sea of Thieves has Gears of War ships and Halo-themed ships. Now we could see Sea of Thieves Blizzard ships, which honestly would fit a lot more than Gears of War and Halo, so it just makes sense. Another thing, now this is wishful thinking, another thing that we could see from this is a new StarCraft game, even a new Warcraft game. Why? Because Microsoft makes Age of Empires. Age of Empires is a game that people know. It's on consoles and PC, so we could see another thing. They could bring StarCraft over to the Xbox, as well as just a new StarCraft. You have RTS people now. You have so many different resources you can use. Have the Age of Empires people work with Blizzard and make a Warcraft with the Age of Empires people. I think working with both of those different studios, or at least having the license to make something with that IP, would be very interesting and make a lot of people happy. I know a ton of people are chomping at the bit for a new Warcraft game, and a ton of people are looking forward to a new StarCraft game. Just breathing life into old series would make so many people happy, And that would buy so much goodwill and bring a lot more people over to Game Pass and the Xbox systems and the Xbox family, because it would be on Game Pass and included. So you'd be adding to your subscription numbers on Game Pass by breathing new life into these old games, and you would just be garnering goodwill. You could scrub and clean the Activision Blizzard image by doing all this fan servicey cool stuff. But I also, again, I want to say, it's great for Game Pass, it's great for Microsoft, it's great for the potential of all these different IPs, but it sucks that all of these things are going to be Microsoft exclusive from now on, except for Call of Duty for a while, but all the Blizzard games, all the other games that aren't Call of Duty are no longer going to be on PlayStation systems. That's a huge blow to the PlayStation library, in my opinion, and I hate to see it. I don't like seeing that sort of competition. However, if it does make Sony start thinking more creatively, start maybe working with other studios, working with their internal studios to create more creative things, then maybe this could be a good thing. The only thing I'm worried about is that in the future, Microsoft is going to own so many important properties that they know they can raise the price of Game Pass to whatever the hell they want, and we are stuck paying that price in order to get access to a lot of this content. In the future, we could see, these are all what ifs, we could see that this is the only way to get certain games. Now, Phil Spencer has pushed back on the fact that any games would be a Game Pass exclusive game, that something would only be on Game Pass, but Microsoft has said, a lot of companies have said a lot of things and done something completely different in the future. You can't take any of their word as gospel. It can always change. It's always in flux. Whatever makes the money is what's going to happen. Do you remember when they tried to charge $120 for Xbox Live Gold just playing online? I will never let you guys forget that, because I will never forget that, and nobody ever should, because that is the true face of the company right there. That's what they want to do. They want you to give them as much money as possible, and they want to funnel you into whatever they want. It didn't work. That $120 thing didn't work, so they just got rid of Xbox Live Gold and made it all called Game Pass, which is going to fudge their numbers a bit. So Game Pass is going to look like it has a bajillion new subscribers when it's just Xbox Live Gold people that are now Xbox Game Pass Core. There's a lot of trickery going on in the background, and never forget that none of these companies care about you. They just want to appease you enough to get the money out of you. As we're celebrating this finally being over, just remember that this could all spiral out at any moment. For now, we can enjoy the golden age of Game Pass and all these amazing games that are just coming with a subscription that is a pretty good value, especially if you look online. You can find tons and tons of different codes and places to buy Game Pass Ultimate for way cheaper than what they sell it for. So be on the lookout for that. Take advantage of the golden age. Bask in the fun that you're going to be having with all of these games at your fingertips very easily. But remember what happened to streaming. Look at Netflix, look at Hulu, look at Paramount Plus, look at all these different things that have now made streaming so much more difficult. So I'm hyped for all the games coming to Game Pass, and I'm worried about the future. This is by far the best and worst thing that has happened in gaming for a very long time. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. I'd love to hear what you think about this acquisition. Of course, please do like the video if you guys liked it. Subscribe for more content, and check me out over on Twitch, FANTAVISION. The link is down below. I play every Tuesday, Thursday, random days during the week and the weekend, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Have a fantastic day. See you, everybody.